to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm just a girl who likes reading romance, fantasy romance, paranormal romance, any kind of genre of romance in general. And I also happen to have cerebral palsy, and it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel. Happy Wednesday. Today's video is going to be a recent reads video. I spent last week reading a bunch of new fantasy / paranormal romances, so I'm just gonna talk about the books because I really like them. The first book I read was called Fairydale. I read this book because of Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages, and the timeline is set in 1950 something, and the heroine, Darcy, works at a boarding school for girls. Actually, she was orphaned at that boarding school, and now, as an adult, she works there. One day, Darcy gets a letter in the mail saying that her father has died and he left her with an inheritance, and in order to get that inheritance, she has to go to Fairydale, where her father was from. And Darcy doesn't know what's going on because she thought it was just her and her mom, that her mom didn't tell her about her father. So she thinks this is a ruse, like this is not true. But then her friend convinces her to go to this town because she can use that inheritance to do what she really wants to do. But when she gets to Fairydale, she has to spend time with her biological father's family, and her mother was like the mistress, so that's why she left. But when she gets, so she has to spend time with that family. But once she gets there, strange things start to happen, and she starts having these dreams. Girl named Lisette, and this book has two different timelines: the 1950s and I think the 1700s. So she keeps dreaming about this woman and dealing with her biological father's family. And when she's in the town of Fairydale, she meets Caleb. And I like this book. I gave Fairydale 4 stars. I warn you, this is a long book. It's like 900 to 800 pages. But the first half of the book is really slow. But once you get to the 50% mark, it really starts to pick up. Everything is not what it seems, and that's all I can tell you about Fairydale, because if I tell you the twist, it will give it away. So it's like paranormal, dark, because the past, her dreams are important. That's all I'm gonna say. I really liked the story. It turned into a soulmates thing. But I read this book because of Tiffany, and she can sell me on anything. So if you're looking for a unique story, please read Fairydale. Although I would advise you, don't take breaks. Just read it the whole way through, because if you stop and start, it won't be as impactful. The next book I read was because of Jess Romana's fiction, and I finally read To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, and it is about Roden riding to this town that has been destroyed, and he sees a little girl, and he promised the little girl's mom that he would take care of the heroine. I can't pronounce her name without the audiobook, so I'm just gonna say the heroine. So we follow the heroine as she grows up under Warden's watch, and she has to give him a drop of her blood, like when he needs it. It's a fantasy romance, and that's all I can say. She likes Warden, but Warden pushes her away for reasons. You kind of see why she's so frustrated, and why Warden is so frustrated with her. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it with a good start. Kind of a Rapunzel retelling, loosely based on Rapunzel. And then I read the second book, To Snap a Silver Stem, because it ended on a cliffhanger. And I read the audiobooks for it, and I also gave it 4 stars, but I was really frustrated because it ended on another cliffhanger, and I want to read book 3 now because that cliffhanger was really, really big, and I really want to know if a certain character is okay. But basically, we find out stuff about the heroine in book 1, like stuff about her lineage that she has to deal with in book 2, and Warden and Oleander basically have a codependent relationship, and it's really interesting. A Kiss of Iron by Claire Seegers. Seger? I can't pronounce her last name. Seger. It is a historical fantasy romance. It is spicy. We have our main character, Lady Catherine, who used to be in good standing with society, but her husband took off and basically sold their estate. She's basically poor now. So she goes undercover as a bandit, so she steals from the rich in order to like keep everything afloat. And one day she steals from a fae person. She steals a possession from a fae. And after that, she gets a notice that she has to move out of her state. Like, the bank owns it now, and she doesn't know what to do. But she gets a summons advisor, and he tells her to spy on this fae noble for the queen, and he will take care of her debt, because they don't know a lot about the fae, and they want to know more about the fae, particularly this fae baron. And so she agrees, because she agrees to spy for them, because she wants her house and her mansion safe. But the only problem is the fae baron that the advisor wants her to spy on him. It turns out the baron is the guy, the fae person she stole from, and he recognizes her, and he says,
"Please check your trigger warnings before reading this book. It has dark elements, and the advisor to the queen is very abusive to Catherine.
Unless I can call upon a bargain from you." So she agrees to this bargain with the fae baron, because that's a way to spy on him. So this book was really interesting. I really liked it. I was not expecting the end. If you are new to historical romances and want to give it a shot, I suggest A Kiss of Iron. There were so many twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. I give this book 5 stars. A paranormal series recommended by Jen from the Book Refuge, and the series is called Tooth and Claw by Heather Greer. The first book is called Cold Hearted, and we follow Grace, our heroine, who moves to Alaska to get away from her boyfriend, who is not a good person, who keeps stalking her, who doesn't make her feel comfortable. So she moves to Alaska to get away from her toxic relationship. Trigger warnings for bad relationship, like he's verbally abusive towards her. So trigger warnings for that. So she gets away from the boyfriend to be a teacher at a high school in this Alaska town. This Alaska town happens to be a town of shifters, and she did not know that. And the pilot who takes her to the town happens to be Caleb. Caleb does not like her because he does not like outsiders. But Caleb and Grace, they keep bumping into each other. And even though Grace does not like to be the center of attention, the town tries to invite her to things like town parties and stuff, because they can see that she needs a friend. And so Grace wants to get out of her comfort zone, but every time she turns around, Caleb is there. And one day, Grace's car got stuck in the middle of the woods, and who happens to rescue her is Caleb. Eventually, they start to form a friendship and a bond, and they realize that Caleb realizes that Grace is his mate, and stuff happens when the ex-boyfriend comes back, because all I can tell you is the ex-boyfriend is not human. He's a vampire, and in this world we have regular vampires that are good and vampires that are evil. And that is called, it started with an Strigoi. Those vampires are evil. And Grace's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, happens to be an evil vampire. Hot-blooded. We go away from the Alaska pack, and then we follow Tess and Amos. Amos is a good vampire. He signed up for a service to take human blood for the first time ever. And he gets paired up with Tess. Tess, she needs the money because her dad died from cancer, and after her dad's death, they left her mom and Tess in that dire debt. Tess is a nurse for end of care nurse, or she nurses, I don't know what you call it, but she's a nurse. Tess and Amos spend time together because she is Amos's blood donor, and the more they spend time together, the more they like each other. And Amos wants Tess to be his blood mate, but he doesn't know how to bring it up to Tess. And it's their relationship, and I really liked it. The hero was so sweet towards the heroine. I gave that book 4 stars, hot-blooded. And the last book I read for the week, last week, was Once Bitten. Their characters, we follow Max, who is a side character, and cold-blooded. He is Caleb's friend, and he goes to this town because he's trying to find his mate, like Caleb found Grace, and he finds her Jules. She works at the gas station, her grandmother's gas station, and Jules has been married before, but it wasn't a good marriage. Her husband, was not a good person, so trigger warnings for that. But Jules can see that Max is a really nice person, and slowly Max gets her to open up to him about herself, about her past, and Max tells Jules about him being a werewolf shifter, and their relationship progresses after that. But there was an accident with Jules that involved a vampire bite from the evil vampires, a Strigoi, not an evil vampire, from a female vampire. She got bitten, and she goes to Max for help, but Max pushes her away because Max believes all vampires are evil and that Jules is dead. And the one who turned her into a vampire, they get captured by an evil vampire. And Meanwhile, Max realizes the person who asked him for help was really Jules, that Jules wasn't dead. So Max goes to Jules to help her and to beg Jules for forgiveness. So I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I like this series in general, but Max had to grovel because he really hurt Jules' feelings, but he does grovel, and they went back to their loving relationship. But the problem is that Max's family can't accept the fact that Jules has been turned into a vampire because his pack in Alaska believes all vampires are evil. So those are all the books that I read last week. Those are new to me, fantasy and paranormal romances. Please let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these books. I would love to know. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you Friday. Bye.